The de Havilland Sea Vixen was one of the weirdest fighters in British history, but capability-wise, the de Havilland Sea Vixen wasn't that out of the ordinary, being a dedicated naval defense fighter. Though a capable plane that entered service, the Sea Vixen never saw use in actual combat. The de Havilland Aircraft Company DH110 Sea Vixen was originally ordered as a two-seat, twin-boom and radar-equipped fighter to specification F448s and was in direct competition with the Gloucester Javelin. Although losing in that competition, the Royal Navy felt that the de Havilland DH110 was a better basis for a carrier-based fleet defense strike fighter. This led to the release of a new specification N131T, written specifically with the de Havilland DH110 in mind. De Havilland Aircraft Company had opted for the twin-boom configuration, seen in the Vampire and Venom, with an all-metal fuselage featuring swept and eventually foldable wings. Fitted with Rolls-Royce Avon 208 turbojets, the prototype flew for the first time at Hatfield on the 26th of September 1951, piloted by John "Cat's Eyes" Cunningham. Early test flights exceeded expectations in both speed and performance, taking it well in excess of the speed of sound. The de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen was involved in a grave tragedy at the Farnborough Air Show in 1952, when the prototype was being displayed to the crowd with the intention of creating a sonic boom. After taking the aircraft to a supersonic speed in a dive, it suffered a sudden structural breakup during a high G turn. Tragically, the breakup saw the engines continued forward into the crowd, killing 29 spectators and injuring many others. In addition, test pilot John Derry and flight engineer Tony Richards both lost their lives. After the accident, the remaining de Havilland DH110 prototype was strengthened and certain areas were redesigned, and it was almost a year before it recommenced flight trials. Despite this, the RAF abandoned its interest in the aircraft, selecting the Gloucester Javelin instead. Meanwhile, after the successful carrier trials, the Fleet Air Arm decided to adopt the de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen to replace its Sea Venoms. It decidedly placed an order for 110 navalized aircraft, which was subsequently renamed the de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen FAW. In June 1955, a semi-navalized de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen FAW Mk-20X prototype completed carrier flight deck suitability trials, which included catapult launches and arrestor hook landings, although the powered folding wings capability was not incorporated until April 1956. The first production aircraft flew on the 20th of March 1957, with the construction of the vast majority of the aircraft being completed at Christchurch, near Bournemouth. However, in 1962, with the advent of the consolidation of the aircraft industry, all de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen work was transferred to Harden near Chester, now home of Airbus wing manufacture. In total, a single prototype and 119 de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen FAW-1s were built, followed by 29 de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen FAW.2, to which configuration many of the surviving FAW.1 aircraft were converted. The de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen FAW.2 can easily be distinguished by the forward extension of the two tail booms, ahead of the wing leading edge, these being used to increase the internal fuel volume. The de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen never saw active service in any wars, although it did provide cover duties based from various carriers around the world. Although not a combat operation, de Havilland DH110 Sea Vixen were used to release bombs and rockets onto the wreck of the oil tanker Torrey Canyon, a 120,000-ton oil tanker which ran aground on Seven Stones Reef off the tip of Cornwall on the 18th of March 1967. This was done with a view to igniting the oil slick and aiding its dispersion,